What's up, Rooster Nation? Today is kind of a part 2 follow-up in a response to the judge's question about being organic and kind of what's going on with that. So I just thought I would talk about my thoughts on being organic and why I'm not. And so we'll go from there. So as I mentioned, when I first started this company, I did take the time to go get the organic certification. And we were certified organic up until we finished our rebrand and relaunched as Rooster and Lark in 2017. So I guess the reason that I am not organic has to do with some of the problems I ran into while I was organic and why I decided to switch. So let's talk about those. The first problem I ran into with being organic was my price point. My price point on shelf was too high. So part of that at the time was I was still in stock packaging, which was much more expensive than my custom packaging on a per unit basis. So that was driving up my cost a little bit too, but really many of the ingredients were driving up the cost in organic versus conventional. So what I found is some of them, select ingredients like onions and green peppers, not a ton of difference between organic and regular, that's fair. With the specialty ingredients like avocados, tomatoes, mushrooms, butternut squash, the organic was costing significantly more than the conventional counterparts that I was purchasing. So that was really driving up my price point to $7.99. And what happened is I started facing pressure from retailers to lower the price. And what was happening is I was pitching bigger retailers right outside of my regional Whole Foods natural grocers. And they were saying, there's two real problems with your product. We love the concept. The first is the price point. $7.99 is way too high. And second is the packaging, right? Which my packaging wasn't good then. I needed to rebrand and get better packaging. But a huge facet of, 50% of their complaint was the price point. So I had to address that. The other thing that I started thinking about once I got that feedback is where does my product sit in relation to similar products? Now, I know there's not a lot of Just Add Eggs competitors. There's only really, at the time, there was only one, and that was Jimmy Dean. And I also have to consider kind of the other similar products, right? Like the smoothies in a bag, right? That's produce in a bag, frozen vegetables, frozen vegetable mixes. And if you look at that whole category across not just the low end, like 99-cent, $1.99 bag of vegetables, but even the higher vegetable blends at Whole Foods or Sprouts, $7.99 is a really high price point for that category. And I would have been the most expensive product. Even if we got it down to $6.99, I still would have been the very, very, very premium. Excuse me. And that just isn't where I wanted to be. I didn't think that was going to help me be successful in launching this product, and it wasn't part of my vision. So those were kind of all the issues on why the price was too high, and that was the feedback I was getting while I was organic. The second big problem I ran into when I was certified organic was sourcing, right? Because when you're buying fresh produce, there's a ton of organic options here in Colorado, right? But I'm not sourcing that. I'm sourcing IQF frozen produce. It's already chopped and frozen when I buy it. And finding organic started to get tough, right? First off, there's only a few suppliers out there that will sell to me in the small volumes that I need, right? And I'm still buying, bigger volumes now, but I'm still at the small end. People contract out for the year. They agree and contract to containers at a time. The most I can buy now is a pallet. Then I can only buy a half pallet or less. So sourcing organic was so hard. And I'd call my suppliers and I'd say, hey, I need to order organic tomatoes. I need organic avocado. I need organic butternut. And they'll say, I'm sorry, we're out of stock, but we do have the conventional. Will that work for you? And I had to say no, because it's certified organic. You can't put a conventional vegetable in the certified organic product. And, what started happening, I'd run into out of stocks, right? I'd call, I need to order more tomatoes. They said, we don't have them. When are you getting them? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And even then, nothing runs on time in this industry. Shipments are delayed. So I'd end up shorting customers. Whole Foods would order, natural grocers would order. I'd say, I'm sorry, I can't deliver right now. I'm waiting on more tomatoes. So that was a big problem for me. So those are kind of the two things I ran into. So when we started to do the rebrand, we executed the rebrand in 2016 and we launched the rebrand in 2017. And when we were executing the rebrand, these were crucial decisions that had to be made, right? Is the product going to be organic or not? What are we going to price it at? What are our margins going to be? How are we going to figure all that out? And to answer those questions, I really had to think about, kind of take a really high level view, bird's eye view. What is my mission? What is my vision, right? What is the purpose of this product? And what is my vision? What do I want to execute on? What is important to me? And here's the answer that I came to that helped me make these decisions to abandon organic. My mission is to help people eat more vegetables, period. That is the only mission. Make it convenient for people to eat more vegetables. A caveat to that is I do not want to sacrifice, taste, health, quality, or nutrition, right? Because I don't want to add all the sauce packets and the sodium and all that. I want to deliver people convenient, easy vegetables that aren't messed around with all this food science and additives and sauces and nonsense. All right, so the mission got complicated. Let's take it simple. The mission is simple: to help people eat more vegetables, right? Part of that mission is offering the vegetables at an affordable price. If I just want to help people eat more vegetables, you have to make it affordable to them. You can't say, oh, I want to help more people, but I'm going to make this out of your budget by selling it for $8 a bag, which is out of the price range for most Americans. I think most people aren't spending $8, $9 on a single item, especially outside of the high-end grocery channel. So, that's one thing to consider. Another thing is, how strongly do I feel about organic? How important is it to me to have that as part of my product? And the conclusion I came to is I believe in consumer choice. I don't believe in preaching one or the other. So I'm not one of those people that has to eat all organic. I don't seek out organic produce for me personally. But I also believe in organics, and I think we should be making an effort to grow our food more simply. And if people want to pay a premium for it, they should be allowed to, right? I believe in consumer choice. And maybe when my budget goes up one day and I have more spending power, maybe I will buy organic. But right now, when I'm standing in the grocery store and I'm on the tightest of tight budgets and I'm looking at organic versus conventional, I'm going to buy conventional because that's what's in my budget. And that's how I think a lot of Americans kind of make their decision in the produce aisle when they're looking at the same kind of thing. So I believe in consumer choice, and I do want to offer both. But it wasn't important to me to only have an organic product, right? I always wanted to have conventional. At first, I thought I would do organic first and then conventional, and then I basically flip-flopped in 2017. And I think that the ultimate two things that made me flip-flop is between organic and conventional produce, which will be easier for me to have initial success with. If I have an organic product, because I'm not going to do both. One of these, only one needs to be successful off the bat. And I mean, killing it, right? Million in sales at least. We're not going to have an organic and conventional less than $1 million in sales. That's just, we've talked about that before. I don't want to have a zillion SKUs. I want only 3 SKUs. And it's going to be easier to have initial success with a conventional product, right? Price is lower, easier to find ingredients, not going to have sourcing issues, more affordable, more appealing to mass market, a competitive price point. And I want to get into mass market. And that's how I came to my decision. So I definitely understand some people, especially, in a very health conscious community, they can really take offense to a product that's not organic. And I respect that. I understand it. But for me, the appropriate business decision, in my judgment, was to go with conventional first. Price, availability, and mass market appeal. So path of least resistance as well. So Rooster Nation, rambling on, but still under 10 minutes. That's always my goal. So that's all I got for you today. Rooster Nation podcast coming at you all week. Next week, we got the Monday morning preach session, so stay tuned for my new segment on that. And have a great week, everybody. Take it easy. I'll see you later.